anything else it related. If you pull up it stuff, I'm going to take all your points away and you're going to go to -5. I know, that is not a fun day. Okay, let's get focused again. Let's see which group is super focused. Let's go with table 3, 10 out of 20. Let's back up to all the things that need to be happening, things we need to do. I heard some people talking about we had homework, and you're a genius if you were going ahead and working on that assignment from the other day. Again, we're supposed to have homework that was due today. That is true. But that was when we were supposed to have school Monday and Tuesday, and we did not. So you do not have anything due today. We are going to talk about things, and it would be great if you had gone ahead and worked on some stuff, but it is just fine if you didn't. It would be smart if you had out your giant note packet that we passed out last week on Friday. It would also be smart if you had out your doodle notes from Friday. We're going to try to keep it simple today. That's really on you, though. Last Thursday we took a test. Some of us did not finish, and that's fine. We need to get that finished, and when I stop rambling today, if you would like to finish that during class, I'll even allow that. Most of us did, though, and if we did finish last week, it's graded, and I'm going to let you see that today. Most of us did okay. I think I had, I'm trying to think, were there any F's in here? Maybe 1 or 2, maybe. Mostly A's, B's, and C's. Mostly B's, which is good. It was a good test, good average. Most of us did well. If we did not do that well, it was left majority blank. Again, it's hard for me to have mercy on your soul when you're leaving stuff blank. If you show me you did some math, then I can give you some points for that. Most of us are very good at graphing, which is good to hear, especially since we're talking about piecewise and graphing functions, and that's kind of the unit we're on right now. We are on a hard lesson with piecewise, so we're going to be on it for a few more days. If you're one who has a planner and likes to keep up with stuff, my plan, I'm going to be rebellious and just do what I want to do this time with piecewise. My plan is that we are going to take a quiz on piecewise on Tuesday. But, I realize it's only Wednesday, so my goodness, that's almost a week away. The reason we need so long is because we need to practice evaluating. We need to practice graphing on our own, which is going to take a day or two because graphing takes some time. And then we also have to do domain and range, which we're not even going to talk about today. So there's still a lot to do with piecewise. There are 3 things we need to know with piecewise. Evaluating is the easiest. It's what we're going to practice today. Graphing, which takes time, and then domain and range. And if you can graph, domain and range falls pretty naturally, but again, everything requires our attention. So since piecewise is a technical section, we're going to take our time on it and make sure we've got it down. So you have a quiz next Tuesday. Okay. Let's go ahead and get these math workshops out the way. Bless your hearts. Bless your hearts. So we were out of school Monday and Tuesday, which was awesome. But now that means we got to get 3 days math workshop when it was supposed to be 5 days worth. So we're going to do 7 through 12 today. We'll do 13 and 14 tomorrow. We'll do the factoring ones, 1 through 6, on Friday. If Caitlin was trying to get her group some points, it would be smart of her to go ahead and try, especially the easy factoring ones, like number 1, number 3. She could go ahead and get the easy ones, which would be everything but 2 and 4 out of the way, and we could just fly through those on Friday. Okay, today we're simplifying radicals. No, I don't want a decimal, so if you're raising your hand to tell me a decimal, you're in the wrong. We're not wanting a decimal. Bless you. All we're wanting to do is take the number given, and we're wanting to think of what perfect square goes into that number. So for my example, I did 500. I know 100 times 5 is 500. 100 is a perfect square. I know the square root of 100. It's 10. So I'm using my perfect squares to help me simplify radicals. Yes, dear. You're wanting to do number 6, 7, aren't you? Yes, sir. What is it? 4 square root of 8.
6 is incorrect. 6 and 4.
It is 4 and 6, yeah. And so what would my final answer be?
2
And that's how your group got a point. Okay, so there are a lot of things that multiply to 24. We agree on that. 12 and 2, 8 and 3, 6 and 4, So how do we, 1 and 24? How do we decide which of these to use? We want to pick the one that has a perfect square. 12 and 2, neither 12 nor 2 is a perfect square. 8 and 3, those aren't perfect squares. We have to do 4 and 6 because 4 is a perfect square. I know the square root of 4 is 2, so my answer is literally 2 square root of 6. Now, some of us have fancy calculators that can do this math for us, which is awesome. However, I know that you realize you kind of have to understand what's going on behind the math. There could potentially be an ACT question where they ask you, what perfect square did you use to get this? So if you don't understand the process, even if your calculator does it for you, that does not mean you got this. Okay, number 9, yes, Travis. Yeah. Say it again. Now, Travis is correct-ish. He is right in that 4 and 8, 4 is a perfect square. And then that's where my directions could have been a little more clear. You want to use your largest perfect square. There is a bigger perfect square that goes into 32 than 4. And? And so what's my final answer? Yes. So Travis is correct in that 8 times 4 is 32 and 4 is a perfect square. But there's a bigger perfect square and it's 16. 16 times 2, I know the square root of 16 is 4. Now this is for Travis and anyone else interested. If Caitlin understands she's got to pick the biggest perfect square and she wants to tune out for the next 0.2 seconds, she can. If you use 8 and 4, and so you ended up with 2 square roots of 8, you should realize 8 simplifies further. 8 is really 4 times 2. So I really have 2 times 2 square roots of 2. And I still end up getting 4 square roots of 2. But you realize you and I just created a 5-step problem, whereas DJ did it in 1. So it's easier to think of a bigger perfect square than have to keep breaking down the radical further. But if you understood how to do that, you can always go to that if you picked the wrong perfect square. Okay, we'll skip number 10 for a hot second. Let's go to number 11. I would love for a group different. Oh, see, he's got this today. Does anyone else got number 11 before I let him handle it? Okay, let's let him. Oh, Brady, go ahead. Okay, so yes, it's 9 times 5 is 45. I know the square root of 9 is 3, so my answer is 3 square root of 5. Okay, does someone know number 12, or I get to let DJ handle that one too? Okay, Travis, go for it.
Let's go.
You can have a point, Brady. Yes. So we do 25 times 3, which is 75. I know the square root of 25, it's 5, so 5 square roots of 3 is the correct final answer. Good. Okay, and you can have a point for that. Okay, now we got the hard one, and I'm hoping by now you figured it out, yes? Don't break my heart.
32.
At first, and now what do you have? Now, number 10 is the hardest because it was the largest number. 16, no. I would love for someone to say it again, Travis. Brady?
8 square root of 3.
Yeah. So this one was the hardest. Now let's talk through how to think this one through. The others come naturally. I'm sorry, but if you don't, when you think 75, you don't think 25 times 3. I don't know what's going on in your head, but I don't know. But this one's hard. 192 is a big number. So actually the answer is 64 times 3 is 192. I know the square root of 64 is 8, so it's 8 square roots of 3. Great, if you didn't get your point already, get your point. But let's talk about how I'm coming up with the 64. Okay, so I've got my handy dandy calculator. I know I want it to be 192. I know I want some perfect square that divides into 192. So I try out a bunch of the perfect squares. Like, I know 100 is not it, but I could try out 100. I could try 192 divided by 81. I could try 192 divided by 64. Hey, I finally hit a whole number, so I know that one's going to work. But let's say you're just a little blind today and you didn't recognize that. So 192 divided by 49, 192 divided by 36. There are lots of, you could just take your number, divide it by a perfect square. If you don't get a decimal, that means it goes in evenly. So that's why I need to do 3 and 64. That one was hard. Okay, are there any questions about the math workshops for today? Then let's look at your giant note packet from last week and let's discuss it for a minute before I give you your thing for today. Okay, I'll leave it on the screen and start passing out the thing for today. It is 2 pages. But calm your life. You're doing it today and tomorrow. You only have to do 1 page today. My gosh, chill out.
A whole page? I think probably
16? No, 20, but I take away 3. 19. Okay,
Did you say 20, but you take away 3? So
Yeah.
19?
20, okay. No. Did I say that? 17?
Yes,
Thank you,
that's
thank
what
you.
you said.
That one came out? That's awesome. That was bad math.
I was just going to say, Miss Compton,
You can have a point for that. Thank you. They're both yours. You weren't listening. You're good. Okay, so I'm going to stop after this group. I'll come back to the other 3 that I haven't passed out yet. Hold just hold yours for 5 seconds. You have to hold yours. Both of them. Yes. Okay, so last week on Friday, we started graphing piecewise functions. We talked about how to graph them, how to decide where to draw those fences, how to fill in the circle or not fill in the circle. We talked about that last Friday, and honestly, you've forgotten. And it's going to be okay. We're going to do these 3 on the back, but we're going to save them until tomorrow. I tried to do them today, first period, and we were trying to do too much at once. So we're going to save the graphing piecewise until tomorrow. We'll focus on that tomorrow. Today, we're going to focus on evaluating. Yes, ma'am. I know, the 3 groups thing. I'm going to get back to it. Okay, so evaluating, if we practiced some last week, don't worry, I'll remind you how to do them in a second. What I do want to say, though, is let's look at page 23 and 25. It's the next page in that packet. Now, this is the page that originally was supposed to be due on Wednesday, and that's when we thought we were coming to school every day like normal people. We're going to change the due date to this till Monday. But Lyric's smart. If Lyric finishes her, it's a Homer Simpson puzzle today. If Lyric finishes her Homer Simpson puzzle fast, of course she should go work on this. That would be genius. We're going to say it's not due till Monday, but Lyric doesn't actually want to have homework over the weekend. So when she finishes her Homer Simpson puzzle today, she'll go start working on this. Okay, so you've got to do the front page. There's nothing I can do to shorten it. I'm sorry. The back page, though, page 25, we're going to take some problems off. So there are 16 graphing problems. Let's start off with the obvious. When Eric goes home this weekend, if he's not done these 16 graphing problems, when Eric goes home this weekend, if he's not done these 16 graphing problems, he's going to need some graph paper. So he's not going to put it on his ugly line paper. He's going to get out actual graph paper. There's graph paper in the 3rd drawer of your towers. It's teeny tiny. If you just can't deal with the teeny tiny, you can either use your own, or if you ask me nicely, I'll find you some pretty. But Sarah can't not have a homework done by Monday because she didn't have graph paper. That's a lie. I'm offering Sarah graph paper. She's just got to get it together. We can take off number 6, number 10, and it's not on the screen, but number 16. So take off number 6, number 10, and number 16. Why are we taking off those 3? What about them makes them too hard?
They all have
They all have, in every group counterpoint, they all have the squares. So anything, and I think those are the only 3, but I might not be paying enough attention. Anything that's not an exponent of just 1, we are not going to do. We're only doing linear and straight line stuff right now. We're not graphing quadratics. So 6, 10, and 16 are out. But let's face it, we're all a little blunt, and I don't need Mason to go home and get stuck on some of the easy ones like 3 and 5. So let's look at 3. On number 3, they didn't put it, you and I just tested on slope-intercept form, mx plus b. On number 3, their top guy is not in intercept form. It's b plus mx. That doesn't make sense. So I flipped it around over here. Instead of 1 minus x, write negative x plus 1. So we're flipping it around so it actually looks like mx plus b. Okay, the exact same issue happened on number 5. On this bottom one, it says 3 minus x. Again, they don't have it mx plus b, so we got to put the mx in front. It should be negative x plus 3. I can't promise those are the only two like that. I see the same issue happening on number 8. But now that I've pointed this out to you, you like mx plus b, put the x term first. That way you know how to graph it. Okay, if you're a genius and you understood the one graphing example we did on Friday, you can go ahead and attempt these. But otherwise, if I were Abby Grace, I would save these till after tomorrow. I would not even try this until after tomorrow. This page, the front page 23, yes, you could do now, but not the back. Okay, as for the new thing, the Homer Simpson one, let me give it to the others I didn't give it to. Today, what I want to see done by tomorrow, I'm handing you 2 pages. It is the first page. It is a joke about Homer Simpson. What kind of ice cream does he like? I've already written the answer on the board. It's chocolate chip cookie dough. But, of course, because he's Homer Simpson, he doesn't spell dough like normal. He does D''OH. Yeah. He always says dough when he's mad, and that's how he spell dough. It's not supposed to be, it's both words. It's not supposed to be the cutest thing ever. It just is what it is. Now, if I were DJ, if I finished the Homer Simpson thing fast, I would try the second puzzle page. Puzzle pages tend to be easier than any other math worksheet anyway. Just my 2 cents. I didn't give y'all any. Okay. No, dear. I gave it to like 3 of them, not the other 3. Okay, so let's look at this Homer Simpson one. Let's remind ourselves how to do this because you've slept since last week and that's fine. So we see it says g of 3 for number 1. So we look at g. We're that smart. We understand and look at function g. We have the number 3. Is 3 greater than 2 or is 3 less than or equal to 2? 3 is greater than 2, so we're going to pick the top one. So we're going to plug in everywhere we see an x, we're going to plug in a 3. So I should have 2 plus 3 squared. Again, we picked the top one because 3 is bigger than 2. So we put it in the top one. Jonathan is doing too much if he's plugging it in both. You do not have to plug it in both. You do not have to plug it in all 3. You pick which one it goes into and only plug it in that one. Okay, so 2 plus 9, which is 11. Are there any questions about how we got 11? Okay, well then you know, everyone wants to know how to work, even though I'm telling you the answer, everyone wants to know how to work out the puzzle on the back, so flip to the back. Okay, we got 11 as our answer. 11 is the letter K, so everywhere we see a 1, we put a K. Let me say that again and stop wiggling my paper. Okay, we got 11 as our answer. 11 corresponds with the letter K. So everywhere down here we see a 1, we're going to put the letter K. We're going to work one more, and then I'm going to tell you a hint of mine. Yes, dear.
I think you mean everywhere we're seeing 11, we put K.
No, that's wrong.
Okay, so let's say number 1, the answer was 11. 11 corresponds to the letter K. So everywhere we see a 1, we put a K. So number 2, if we got 18, then everywhere we saw a 2 down here, we put the letter O.
Okay, wait.
It's just a puzzle. It's just a puzzle.
Okay,
so let's flip to the front. Do it again.
Let's
flip to the front and do it again. So let's do, and I'm going to pick one on purpose. Let's do number 7. 7. So 7 says K at negative 3. So let's look up at the top. I see K. So we got options. Is it greater than or equal to 2? Is it less than 2? Or is it between negative 1 and 2? Or is it less than negative 1? So negative 3, do we plug it in the top, the middle, or the bottom? The bottom, because negative 3 is less than negative 1. Is there anyone confused about why we're plugging it in the bottom? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can go. Okay, so negative 3 is less than negative 1. We're going to plug it in the bottom. Do you see any x's? Do you see anywhere we're going to plug in anything? So seriously, the answer is negative 4. It's saying if you get something that's in this range, the answer is negative 4. So you and I at 7, we're going to write negative 4. Okay, so we flip to the back. You and I got negative 4, which is the letter A. So everywhere we see a 7, we're going to put an A. But again, if the fill in the blank at the bottom is what's breaking Xavier's heart, Lord, I've already given you the answer. You know I'm not even looking at that. I'm looking at, did Xavier do all the math and actually get the answers to the piecewise functions? You're allowed to skip 3 problems. Those are the ones with the radicals. So 15, 19, and 20, we'll cross those off. If you want to try them with your calculator anyway, it's not a bad idea. But seriously, I'm telling Eric the answer, so even though he doesn't have, he can figure it out. Okay, so Eric is smart. This is not his first rodeo with a puzzle. He's got this. So he could work life backwards. You realize this, right? So let's go back down to the answer. For instance, 15. You realize 15 is that first blank, right? And I told you the answer was chocolate chip cookie dough, which means 15 goes with C, and then C was 38. So that means I know on 15 I was supposed to get a 38. So you could be that person who knows what the answer is supposed to be and plug in and make sure you get that answer. That's kind of why I told you the key. But you don't have to do that. I'm just giving you some options. Okay, is there anyone who's completely lost? Yes, you're asking the question.
Okay. When we're figuring out which to plug in, okay. I got lost back when we did number 7. How did you end up with it being negative 4?
Okay, well, negative 3 is less than negative 1, right?
Yes.
Do you see any x's over here?
No.
So there's nothing for us to plug in, so the answer is seriously negative 4. If it was negative 4 plus x, then you and I would have plugged in negative 4 plus negative 3, and we would have said that's negative 7. There's no x's. There's nothing for us to plug in. The answer is just negative 4. You're overthinking your life. Okay. Is there anyone who's not overthinking their life that has a question? Okay, I don't care if you work with your group. I don't care if you listen to your music. All I need you to do is get homework sent and send them by tomorrow. Okay, thanks.